Hey there, angry faithful. I just wanted to drop in, bend your ear a little bit, get your attention. So if you're not listening, drop what you're doing and pay attention to me because I'm here to inform you that not only can you get your daily, maybe if you're binging it, I'm not sure, that's entirely up to you, but you can multiply your doses of angry me fuckery by paying attention to all of the platforms upon which you can find either the dulcet tones of my voice and David's voice or my pretty face and David's not so pretty face. Anyways, digressing, we not only we are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we're on Rumble, we're on Google, Apple Podcast. We have a TikTok page. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and of course Facebook. So if you find yourself fuckery deprived, curl up with a nice hot mug of shut the fuck up and just listen. Open those ear holes and be prepared to be cream pied like it's the first time. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Today on Psychos and Sociopaths, it's going to be a three-parter. First part is just going to be the startup of it, of the DC snipers. And then we're going to go on the second part. We're going to talk about the people that were involved. And then on the third part, we're going to talk about the investigation, what inevitably happened. But on that note, we got one more little tidbit for our angry faithful is I'm going to be at the Stone Oven Gourmet Pizza and Eatery for stand-up comedy on August the 13th at 9 o'clock to midnight for 5-minute stand-up comedy. And there'll be other comics there too. We got Joey Diaz, which is not the actual Joey Diaz, what we name it, know and love. But he's still fun. This kid is actually really funny. Jeffrey Gold, Michael Patamano, Brennan DeMoss, Tulu. I'm gonna butcher this last name. Gunbay, Tulu Gunbay, and Gorbinson. And it's hosted by Skylar Wilson. It's going to be at 818 7th Street, Wichita Falls, Texas, 76301. And I'll put the link in the bio in the description for the entire time we're doing this.
So there's going to be three types of crowds that are going to show up. One is going to be like this. One, which I hope you get, is going to be like this. Right? Or you're going to get this crowd. I'm hoping for door number two. Okay. Because stand-up is hard, man. It really is.
It is hard. And I've gotten like, been doing it for about 3 months now, 4 months.
Sorry.
Wife problems. I got you.
No, it's not wife problems. She just came in. She was fixing dinner.
She's giving me the stern look. I don't like it.
Yeah. Soak in that stern look.
I know. I get it all the time from most women, so it doesn't really faze me anymore.
Okay, so this week we start the DC sniper attacks.
You're gonna love that for all times, aren't you?
All time, dude. That's such a. I mean, thing? It's a. Yeah, I mean, why not? Fuck it, right?
All right.
I can turn my rubber all the way down. I'm sorry.
Sorry, but no sorry. All right. The DC sniper attacks, also known as the Beltway sniper attacks, were a series of coordinated shootings that occurred during 3 weeks of October 2002 in the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. 10 people were killed and 3 others were critically wounded in Baltimore, Washington metropolitan area. And along Interstate 95 in Virginia, the snipers were John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Mavalo. John was age 41 at the time, and Lee was at age 17 at the time, who traveled in a blue 1990 Chevrolet Caprice sedan. The crime spree had begun in February 2002, including murders and robberies in the states of Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Maryland, Texas, Washington State, and Washington, D.C., which resulted in 7 deaths and 7 wounded. In 10 months, the snipers killed 17 people and wounded 10 other people. None of the killed were none of the people killed were children, but one was severely wounded. I'm not gonna lie, going through that was that was rough. I don't know why it was rough. I guess some of it's like when it's written down, some of it's written down like a little child
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's how can we put this gently? One of those situations where the grammar that's on the page doesn't necessarily translate. Good Lord. Translate to I will be glad when my new house is completed and I've got a semi-soundproof office.
Mm.
Oh, it's gonna be so great.
I am thinking not this week, but probably next week I'll end up buying my new soundboard. Oh, dude, I'm literally thinking about sending you the schematics on this and what it does and everything, just so you can get teased on what it can do. But anyways, it's your turn.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. So in September 2003, Muhammad was sentenced to death, and in October, Malvo, a juvenile, was sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences without parole. Now remember that, boys and girls, because that will come up on the quiz later. Let me see here. In November 2009, Muhammad was put to death by lethal injection. Now, in 2017, the United States Court of Appeals in the Fourth Circuit, a very liberal circuit, if I might add, vacated Malvo's 3 life sentences without parole in Virginia on appeal. Now, the reason for this, with resentencing ordered pursuant to the Supreme Court's ruling in the case of Miller versus Alabama, that's section, what is it? See if I can read this properly here.
56.7 U.S.
Yeah,
460.
567 U.S. 460 132 circuit court, or is it?
Yeah, circuit court.
Circuit court 244. You know what? If my son is listening to this or his girlfriend's listening to this, don't shoot me, educate me. Okay. Anyway, so that Supreme Court ruling held that mandatory life sentences for juvenile criminals without possibly parole violated the 8th Amendment to the Constitution. Now, what is the 8th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution? Great question. I'm glad you asked. It prohibits the federal government from imposing excessive bail, excessive fines, or cruel and unusual punishments. So there you go. You're welcome. U.S. Supreme Court granted certiorari, which is basically it's a court process to seek judicial review of its decision from a lower court or government agency. It comes from the English name of an English prerogative writ issued by Superior Court to direct that the record of the lower court be sent to the Superior Court for review. So it basically just allows the decisions to be reviewed by the next step up. So more or less. Okay. Anyway, so it was granted certiorari with oral arguments held on October 16th of 2019. Should he be resentenced, Malvo's minimum prison sentence will be determined by a judge. Now, the available maximum sentence would be life imprisonment. Ruling does not apply to the 6 life sentences that he received in Maryland. Now, on February 25th of 2020, after the passage of a Virginia law allowing those who are serving life sentences for offenses committed before the age of 18 to seek release after serving 20 years. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court case was dismissed at the request of the lawyers on both sides. Why is that important? It's basically he's going to spend the rest of his natural life in prison. He's not going to get out. Even if, well, no, I read that wrong. So I think with the way that this was written, or the right way that it reads rather, is look at this, man. I'm getting like verbal dyslexia, and it's coming out. It sucks. Anyways, I know. Welcome to your world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the way that this reads is that if he gets a life imprisonment term from the judge for that resentencing from the Virginia case, then, or I mean, what is it? Yeah, from Virginia. There we go.
Case.
Yeah, Virginia case, right? Because now that doesn't count his Maryland stuff. So I mean, the dude's he's never going to get out of prison. Now,
no, he's never gonna get out of prison on any of this stuff.
Yeah,
it's more or less, on a situation like this, it's more or less the tug and pull of different states wanting justice type deal. It sounds weird and petty, but you have people in Maryland. There's like, hey, he needs to serve over here because of this. There is, what was that one case where they ended up, someone did something and they dug him up and did the trial again. It was some kind of Catholic church thing. It's
where they exhumed the body and they
they
tried the
exhumed the
corpse,
body
basically.
Yeah, and they redid a court case.
That sounds like something that I'd want to check into.
Yeah, it's.
I mean,
it's
legitimately, that sounds like fun, kids.
It's something that's it's so old and weird. It's one of those things I fall in a lot of stuff when it comes on like looking stuff on the internet, and that was the thing. Now, the primary shootings was on February 16th, 2002. 21-year-old cashier Kania Nicole Cook was shot and killed by Lee Manival at the front door of her aunt's home in Tacoma, Washington. Cook's aunt, Aisha Nichols, had been good friends with John Allen Muhammad's ex-wife, Mildred, and had encouraged her to seek a divorce. On March 19th, 2009, 2002, God, I don't know why it was the 19th. Jerry Taylor, 60, was killed by a single shot to the chest fired from a long-range rifle as he practiced chip shots at Tuscan, Arizona golf course. Muhammad's sister lived near the golf course, and he was visiting her at the time of the shooting. God, that's gotta really suck, because the way it's starting to look is they're just. I mean, the first one was meant to do something. It had like a actual definitive thing. The other ones is just, hey, let's go around and just shoot.
They just basically became targets of opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On August 1st, 2002, John Gita, 51, was changing a tire slashed by Mello. I'm gonna mess up his name over time. Malvo. Okay, Malvo. At a parking lot in Hamdall. Hamadal. That's not it. Speaking Spain. Hammond, Louisiana, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
Maval, is that his name?
Malvo.
Then shot him in the neck. The bullet exited through Gita's back, and he pretended to be dead while Malvo stole his wallet. Gita ran to the service station after the shooter left and discovered that he was bleeding. He went to the hospital and was released within an hour. Wow, that's that's balls right there. Get shot, go to the hospital, get it all fixed up within an hour.
Yep.
On March 1st, 2010, he received a letter of apology from Malvo. That they don't have the letter. I'm going to try to find the letter for Malvo on that one.
And that's even if it got released for public distribution.
Yeah. On September 5th, 2002, at 10:30 p.m., Paul LaRufa, a 55-year-old pizzeria owner, was shot 6 times at close range while locking up his Italian restaurant in Clinton, Maryland. LaRufa survived the shooting, and his laptop computer was found in John Allen Muhammad's car when he and Malvoy were arrested. On September 14th, 2002, 22-year-old. That's weird.
22-year-old Rupinder Benny Oberoi.
Rupinder Benny Oberoi, an employee of Hilladale Beer and Wine Liquor Store in Silver Springs, Maryland, was shot in the back outside the store. Benny survived the shooting. The shooting was officially linked to Muhammad and Melva by Montgomery County Police Department. On September 15th, 2002, Muhammad God, big weird words. I can get some of them, but I just can't get all of them. It's like Muhammad Rashid was shot while closing three road liquors in Brandywine, Maryland. Rashid later identified Malvoy as the shooter in court. What's really strange about this whole thing, and I'm just gonna stop it right there for a second. What's really strange about this whole thing, when I was looking at the stuff, Muhammad was literally not the Muhammad Rashid, but John Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
He literally did this because he transferred, and we'll get into this tomorrow or next time we do the episode. But he converted to Islam, and he thought the September 11th. There's so many things that he said that this is the reason why I did it. It was like September 11 attacks in 2001, and then his ex-wife was trying to get custody of the children and divorcing them. I think he just went all ape shipping crazy.
He did. I mean, that's all it boils down to, is the guy absolutely lost his mind. So,
yeah.
I mean, is it an excuse? Absolutely not. But at the same time, well, let me stop myself there. There is no at the same time, because it sounds like I'm trying to justify it, and I'm really not. I mean, people like that should be burned at the stake. I mean, to be completely and perfectly honest with you, there's no, I don't know, in my mind, there's no wiggle room. So you did what you did. Own up to the fact that you did it. Quit trying to hide behind this, that, and the other, because I mean, we already think that you're batshit crazy. But don't. What is it that, like, people automatically assume that you're a fool? Don't open your mouth and prove them right. And that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
The thing about crazy people is that they don't know that they're crazy. Sociopaths do, but they don't know. They don't think they're crazy. They just look at the world through a different filter, and they know it. So, there's just, anyway, digressing. Go ahead.
On September 21st, 2002, at 12:15 a.m., 41-year-old Milton A.
Milton A. Waldemarian.
Walder Marianne was fatally shot in the head and back with a 22 caliber pistol at Atlanta, Georgia. Waterman was helping the owner of a Sammy's packaging store closed up for the night when he was shot. Uh, coordinated coordinated shooting occurred. Damn. Oh man. 19 hours later on the same day, Claudia Parker, a 52-year-old liquor store clerk in Montgomery, Alabama, was shot in the chest and killed during a robbery. Her co-worker, 24, Kaylee Adams, was critically wounded with a shot through the neck, but survived. Evidence found at the crime scene eventually tied the killings to the Beltway attacks and allowed authorities to identify Muhammad and Molova as suspects. Although the connection was not made until October 17th, almost 4 weeks later. On September 23rd, 2002, at 6:30 p.m., 45-year-old Hong M. Bollinger was shot in the head and killed with a Bushmaster rifle in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Muhammad and Malvo were later linked to the killings. Okay.
Okay. Is it my turn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it is my turn now. So with the DC and Montgomery County, Maryland, and Virginia surrounding areas, where we get the DC sniper, the Beltway sniper attack monikers, um, started roughly on October 2nd. Now they're trying to nail it down to about 5:20 in the afternoon, which was on a Wednesday. But a shot was fired through the window of a Michael's craft store in Aspen Hill. The bullet narrowly missed Ann Chapman, a cashier at the store. Since no one is injured, the shot was assumed to be random, so no serious alarms were raised. However, approximately 1 hour later at 6:30, James Martin, a 55-year-old program analyst, excuse me, for NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. He was shot and killed at 2201 Randolph Road. It's a parking lot of a Shoppers Food Warehouse grocery store located in Wheaton. Now, on the morning of October 3rd, 4 people were shot dead within the span of approximately 2 hours in Aspen Hill and other nearby areas in Montgomery County. Now, another was killed that evening in the Tacoma neighborhood. That's Tacoma spelled Tango Alpha Kilo Oscar Mike Alpha, or TAKOMA for those of you who are not phonetically gifted, neighborhood of the district of DC. Now, the timeline kind of proceeds like this. 7:41 a.m., James L. Buchanan, 39-year-old landscaper known as Sonny, was shot dead on Rockville Pike near Rockville, Maryland. He was shot while mowing the grass at the Fitzgerald Auto Malls. 8:12 a.m., 54-year-old part-time taxi driver, Prem Kumar Walekar, was shot in Aspen Hill, Montgomery County, while pumping gasoline into his taxi at a mobile station. Aspen Hill at the Aspen Hill Road and Connecticut Avenues. 8:37 a.m. Sarah Ramos, a 34-year-old babysitter and housekeeper, was killed on Rossmore Boulevard at the Leisure World Shopping Center in Norbeck. She had gotten off a bus and was seated on a bench reading a book. 9:58 a.m. 25-year-old Lorianne Lewis Rivera was killed while vacuuming her Plymouth Grand Voyager. She's a soccer mom at the Shell station at the intersection of Connecticut and Knowles Avenue in Kensington, Maryland. The snipers waited until 9:20 before shooting Pascal Charlot, a 72-year-old retired carpenter, while he was working on Georgia Avenue at Elmira Road in Washington, D.C. He died less than an hour later. Now, in each of the shootings, the victims were killed by a single bullet fired from some distance, and in each case, the killer struck and vanished. The pattern was not detected until after the October 3rd shooting occurred. Now, obviously, this kind of ran in the area, and news of the shooting started to spread. At a press conference meeting, Chief of Police for Montgomery County, Maryland, Charles Mose, informed parents that schools were on a code blue alert, keeping children indoors. He said that the schools were safe. Many parents picked up their children early at school, not allowing them to take a school bus or walk home. Now, Montgomery County Public Schools in the DC District Public Schools and private schools went into a lockdown with no recess or outdoor physical activity classes. Other school districts in the area precautionary measures, keeping students indoors. Now, during the course of the shootings, law enforcement agencies from neighboring states became embedded in the investigation through telephone tips. Police only had a few pieces of evidence to work with. Now, one initial report said that during the Silver Spring attack, someone had reported seeing a white box truck. After the murder in Washington, D.C., witnesses began telling police they'd seen a blue Chevy Caprice rather than a white box truck. Now, the police initially believed that all the murders were carried out with a .223 caliber rifle, AR,
Yeah.
or IED, or AKA. That's the word I was looking for. A Bushmaster rifle or a AR platform. These scary, military weapons that civilians have access to.
Yep.
Say that very tongue in cheek. It's like scary military weapons.
Oh no.
Now at this point, Malvo and Muhammad started covering a wider area and taking 2 to 3 days in between shootings. October 4th, 43-year-old homemaker Caroline Sewell was wounded in the chest at 2:30 p.m. in the parking lot of another Michael's store at a Spotsylvania mall in Spotsylvania. She was loading purchases into her minivan. By this point, hundreds of journalists had converged to cover the unfolding events. Now, school officials reassured the public that they were taking every measure possible to protect the children by tightening security and canceling all outdoor activities. Now, on October 7th at 8:09, Iran Brown, a 13-year-old student, was shot in the chest and critically wounded as he arrived at the Benjamin Tasker Middle School on Collington Road in Bowie, Maryland, or would they pronounce it Bowie? I'm going to say Bowie because we're from Texas, in Prince George's County. Now, Brown's name was initially withheld from the public, but was later revealed. And I think that's because of his minor status. His Aunt Tanya Brown was a nurse who had just brought him to school. She rushed him to a hospital emergency room. Now, despite serious injuries, including damage to several major organs, Brown survived the attack and ultimately testified at Muhammad's trial. At this crime scene, the authorities discovered a shell casing as well as a tarot card, a death card inscribed with the phrase, "Call me God," on the front, and 3 separate lines on the back. For you, Mr. Police Code, call me God. Do not release to the press. Despite police efforts to honor the request not to release information about the card to the press, details were made public by WUSA TV and then by the Washington Post just 1 day later. Way to go. October 9th at 8:18 p.m., 53-year-old civil engineer Dean Harold Myers was shot dead while pumping gasoline at a Sunoco gas station on Studley Road in Prince William County near Manassas. Now, the next couple days later, in the morning of October 11th, 9:30 a.m., 53-year-old businessman Kenneth Bridges was shot dead while pumping fuel at an Exxon station off of I-95 near Fredericksburg. October 14th, 9:15 p.m. 47-year-old Linda Franklin, an FBI intelligence analyst who was a resident of Arlington County, was shot dead in a covered parking lot at Home Depot in Fairfax County, Virginia, just outside Falls Church. Now, I remember this one specifically because this is the one that really seemed like it set off the federal authorities. At this point, they were letting the local municipalities handle it. But when the FBI agent got gunned down, then the FBI decided to step in, which I think is complete horse crap. But anyways, I digress. The police received what seemed to be after October 14th, the October 14th shooting, but it was later determined that the witness was inside the Home Depot at the time and was lying. The witness, Matthew Dowdy, was subsequently convicted of interfering with the investigation. Good for him, fuckface. By this point, gas stations began to put tarps up to conceal their customers. Malvo Muhammad did not commit any more shootings for 5 days. October 19th at 8 p.m., 37-year-old Jeffrey Hopper was shot in the parking lot near Ponderosa Steakhouse near Route 54 in Ashland, Virginia, about 90 miles south of Washington. His wife, Stephanie, called out to passersby who phoned for an ambulance, enabling Hopper to survive his injuries. Now, authorities discovered a 4-page letter from the shooter in the woods that demanded $10 million and made a threat to children. On October 21st, Richmond area police arrested two men, one with a white van outside of a gas station. Now, the men turned out to be undocumented immigrants with no connection to the shooter. Now, the pair were administered cavity searches. I'm sorry. And were remanded into federal custody, which was then the Immigration and Nationalization Service.
Okay.
Naturalization Service.
Sidetrack.
Now, these guys. Now, these guys were eventually deported.
Did you look at the picture for the cavity search thing? Scan over that real quick. Just look at the picture. It's fucking hilarious.
Dude, is that a screen cap from like what happened? What I
Look,
that's gotta be a porn.
It has to be.
That's gotta be a porn screen cap, dude.
It is. Oh my god. This is so
I
fucking
love
hilarious.
Wikipedia sometimes. I really do. The fact that we can go in there and edit these pages and people put their own footnotes and they can put their own clip art, dude, that is classic. All right, moving on.
I just like it's one of those things I was like scanning.
Oh, these immigrants, these illegals.
And then
these illegals were given cavity searches, and
it looks like an 80s porn guy.
That's a gay. Yeah, like an 80s gay porn guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time for your cavity search. Oh my god. Okay.
Oh my god, it's fucking hilarious.
These guys smell bad, but they're clean. All right. Wow. The next day, on October 22nd, ride-on bus driver Conrad Johnson, 35, was shot at 5:56 a.m. while standing on the steps of the 14100 block of Grand Prix Road in Aspen Hill. Released the Maryland police chief Mose released part of the content of one of the shooter's letters, in which he declares, "Your children are not safe anywhere at any time." Johnson died of his injuries. While no shootings occurred on October 23rd, the day is significant for two events. First, ballistics experts confirmed Johnson as the 10th fatality in the Beltway shootings. Second, in a yard in Tacoma, Washington, police searched with metal detectors for bullet shell casings and other evidence that might provide a link to the shooters. A tree stump, believed to have been used for target practice, was seized. Now, would this link have been given, or would this link have materialized if that FBI agent wouldn't have been shot? Probably not. And I say that not to disparage the federal law enforcement or local law enforcement, but with the outstanding track record of law enforcement as it relates to serial murders or serial murders at this point, if just from the history of our show, I really don't think that link would have materialized. I really don't.
No. They're investigating like state to state murders is very hard in connecting the dots and everything. I think a cop literally told me, it's like, if you want to get away with murder, do it in one state. If multiple murders, do it in one state and then go to another state and do another one there, and they'll never. Just make sure you do a different timeline and everything like that. You can get away with it. I was like, really? And it was just one of those time frames where it's just honest conversation and everything like that. I don't plan on murdering people.
Yes, let's put that disclaimer out there now. David Dickerman is not planning. That sounds so reassuring.
I know. David Dickerman is not gonna kill anybody.
He did not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Start blinking a couple of times.
Yeah, right.
But well, that is kind of the end of this episode for the part 1. We're just gonna call this DC attacks, and we're gonna name the other ones later on. But this is kind of surreal because we ended up living it.
Yeah, I mean,
and I was in Baltimore
it happened
when it was happening.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. It really, I don't want to sound cheesy, but like, but this kind of makes it more real. It takes it out of the land of historical nonfiction, blah blah blah. But I mean, because we obviously know that the other cases obviously happen. We're not trying to to take away from from the victims or from the families of those victims. But um, it's definitely one of those, because I remember watching that stuff, kind of unfold on the news, and it it's sobering, because you're sitting there watching all of this happen, and we really, as kids, as young adults growing up, and even it it's just watching it kind of unfold. It's not like, okay, we're watching reports from, Afghanistan or Iraq or anything like that, kind of being, broadcast on our TV. It's that's still, we're watching history unfold there. But I mean, it's as far as like seeing something like that go down on our turf, in, back here in our backyard, so to speak. It's more sobering because it's a little bit more real. It's a little bit more in your face. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't want to go off on this huge tangent and then everybody just start filling up our inbox with like, don't ever fucking have him back. Like, really?
Uh,
Thank you.
I hate to tell you this right now, Johnny, but we gotta ban you. Sorry.
Yeah, well,
That would
fuck
never
it.
happen. I don't give a shit about other people's opinions.
Later, folks. Yeah, it was real. It's fun, but it wasn't real fun. No. What, man? No, don't do that. Anyways,
But on another note, since we're talking about shootings and defense and everything, well, god damn it, I'm trying to find this kid's freaking stuff.
you talking about
I
that Isaac kid or the one that just did the he
Eli,
knew,
whatever his
yeah,
name is.
Eli, whatever. Yeah, he neutralized that shooter in about 14 seconds.
Yeah.
Be- because even though it was banned by the business to not carry, he was exercising his constitutional right in that state, and he
Mhm.
ended up becoming a good guy with a gun.
Yeah, and what's really sad is if you go if you look at the Twitter stuff on this bullshit, and not Eli's bullshit, but there's so many freaking soccer moms going. It's like, how could he shoot that man? He was in a place that was gun free. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They were attacking the guy that was actually saving people's lives. I mean, even the cops were like, he's safe. You don't know how many people's lives he's saved because he literally, the mass shooter, the shit pump, was literally geared up to like mow out that whole mall.
Yeah. I mean, I see all these Second Amendment, pro Second Amendment guys, these advocates, myself included. I mean, they're all over Twitter and they're, all over Facebook, and they're like, lesson here, carry everywhere.
Yeah.
And it sucks that we have to live in a society that has forced us to, adopt that mentality. But
Well,
at the same
my
time,
opinion
to
on that
me, I'm
on
just like, whatever, fuck them.
yeah, my opinion on that though is the basic fact of you don't know when you're gonna run into that asshole.
No, absolutely not.
And that I mean everybody knows that I carry a gun everywhere.
Yeah, I'm in
But
the process of going through my LTC class, so.
yeah, which is really good because you can go to the movie theaters.
Hmm.
You can't go to the movie theaters if you don't have that. I can. But oh, it should be like stupid cheap for you.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I paid like $49 for the academic portion of it. I still have to do my shooting course, portion, but
Did you do 14? Everything?
mm,
Because vets get it for like $25.
no, I didn't. But it's whatever. I already paid for it, so
Oh.
six and a half, one
It's not
dozen,
like
my
me.
friend.
I could have gotten it. I got it for free only because I was a correctional officer at the time.
Well, folks, kids,
Is it
that
that
is
time? Oh,
it is that time for me to bow out and say adieu for the evening because my dinner's ready.
all right, man. Well,
Spaghetti and meatballs, my friends. Spaghettis and meatballs.
awesome.
I know, right?
But anyways, everybody, thank you all for watching. And don't forget, go to Stone Oven to watch me either A, bomb horribly, or B, very funny on August 13th, hosted by Skylar Young. Is it Skylar Young? God, I am not a good host today for some reason. I don't know why.
All right, but bottom line, folks, get off your ass. Get out
Wilson.
there.
Yeah.
Get out of your house. Leave your masks behind because let's face it, they don't fucking work anyway. And just get out there and support our boy. And if you don't, well, shame on you. Unfollow our show.
All right, everybody. Well, I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
Thank you all for listening, watching, or whatever you do. Goodbye.
Your ear whores are welcome. Ear whore.